From strange disappearances to chilling crimes caught on camera, these unsolved mysteries continue to haunt investigators. In December 2017, the shocking deaths of Canadian billionaires Barry and Honey Sherman left the world in disbelief. Found in their upscale Toronto mansion, the couple had their lives taken in a chilling and mysterious way, their bodies staged in an eerie semi-seated position by the indoor pool. What makes this case even more baffling is the unsettling surveillance footage captured just days before their deaths. The video shows a mysterious person walking down a sidewalk near their home just around the time investigators believe the crime took place. Though the suspect's purpose in the neighborhood remains a mystery, authorities have highlighted their very distinctive gait. Despite the wealth and prominence of the Sherman family and a hefty $35 million reward for information, no one has stepped forward to solve this chilling case. With no sign of forced entry and few clues, the case remains a mystery. What could have happened in that mansion, and who was the person on the sidewalk? Next, we are talking about Brian Randall Schaefer. On the night of March 31st, 2006, Brian Randall Schaefer, a medical student at Ohio State University, vanished without a trace after celebrating the start of spring break with friends in Columbus. The last confirmed sighting of him was just before 2 a.m. when security cameras outside a bar captured him talking to two women, then walking out of view. But despite extensive footage and a visible exit, Schaefer was never seen again. What makes his disappearance even more baffling is that there was no other publicly accessible way out of the bar at the time, yet he seemingly vanished into thin air. Police have floated several theories, including the possibility that Schaefer was a victim of foul play, perhaps linked to the smiley face serial killer theory, or even that he's living under a new identity somewhere. Adding another layer of mystery, a friend who was with him that night refused to take a polygraph test, definitely raising some suspicion. Did Schaefer really disappear, or is he hiding in plain sight? His case remains one of the most haunting unsolved mysteries in recent memory. Next, we are talking about Chris Jake Moon. In February 1998, 31-year-old Chris Jake Moon, a mother of two, was seen leaving the Oasis Casino in Mesquite, Arizona with several people, including a man in a cowboy hat who would later become the key to solving what happened to her. Hours later, Jake Moon was found with her life taken in a remote desert area near the Arizona-Nevada border, her body covered with a blue blanket. The chilling surveillance footage showed her leaving with the man, but despite the man's connection to the case and his mysterious disappearance afterward, he has never been found. Authorities believe he holds the key to unraveling this tragedy, yet with no leads or solid evidence, Chris's case remains unsolved. To this day, the question lingers. Could this man in the cowboy hat be the answer to an enduring mystery, or is there something even darker at play here? Next, we are talking about the USS Nimitz Tic Tac UFO incident. Alright, we're taking a little break from the doom and gloom. This one is a different kind of unsolved mystery. This is a UFO sighting that comes from 2004. On November 14th of that year, the USS Princeton noticed an unknown aircraft of some sort that was about 100 miles off the coast of San Diego. For 2 weeks prior to this crew had been tracking a strange flying object that would start out at around 80,000 feet before extremely quickly dropping to hover right above the Pacific Ocean. Commander David Fravor and Lieutenant Commander Jim Slate went over in 2 fighter jets, and when they arrived, they saw what at first appeared to be churning water while there was an oval shape just below the surface. After this, a white oval-shaped object appeared above the water, but it had no markings on it, like no windows, nothing that would indicate an engine, no wings, and the infrared monitors on the jet didn't pick up any sort of exhaust. The commander and lieutenant commander tried to intercept this strange aircraft, but it very quickly flew away and reappeared on the monitor 60 miles away. And when I say quickly, I mean it was moving at 3 times the speed of sound and over twice the speed of fighter jets, so faster than any kind of technology we currently have. We still don't know exactly what it was, but it was certainly beyond our current capabilities. Next, we are talking about Elizabeth Liz Barraza. On January 19th, 2019, Elizabeth tragically had her life taken in her own driveway in Houston. The 29-year-old was setting up for a garage sale when a mysterious figure approached and fired 4 shots. The chilling moment was captured on a neighbor's security camera, but despite the footage, the killer remains unidentified. The footage, however, only shows a shadowy figure, too vague to identify if they were male or female. Even more haunting, the suspect may have been disguised, wearing wearing a wig, tall boots, and a long jacket. Before the crime, a dark-colored Nissan Frontier truck was seen circling the neighborhood, and investigators believed the driver was waiting for Liz's husband, Sergio, to leave for work. Once he did, the truck parked nearby, crime took place, and then they returned afterward to confirm the deed was done. The video captures Liz's final moments. To this day, no motive has been uncovered, and Liz's husband Sergio, while never named a suspect, feels the weight of suspicion. He and his wife had been preparing for a trip to Florida to celebrate their anniversary, which is a very eerie reminder of how quickly life can be stolen. So, who could have wanted to end Liz's life, and why? The answers remain elusive, leaving this case a chilling unsolved mystery. Next, we are talking about Terry Missy Bevers. On the morning of April 18th, 2016, Terry Bevers, a 45-year-old fitness instructor, had her life taken inside a North Texas church just hours before she was set to lead her 5 a.m. boot camp class. Surveillance footage caught a chilling glimpse of the criminal, a person dressed in riot gear and wearing a helmet, strolling through the church halls long before Missy arrived. This eerie footage shows the figure casually opening doors and even attempting to break into rooms with a hammer, all while wearing a vest marked police. The suspect's strange walk, with one foot pointing outward, stands out as a key detail, but despite this, their identity remains unknown. Missy's body was discovered by a class participant just before 5 a.m. Investigators found no signs of robbery, and her personal belongings were left untouched in her truck. Even more disturbing, a car was spotted circling the parking lot earlier that morning, its lights flashing on and off. As the investigation stretches into another year, the question remains, who was the person in the church and why did they commit this crime? In our number 4 spot today, we have Marilyn Bergeron. On February 17, 2008, 24-year-old Marilyn Bergeron vanished without a trace after leaving her home in Quebec City for a simple walk. The last confirmed sighting of her was hours later at an ATM in Loretteville, where security footage captured her trying to withdraw money. Nearly 5 hours after that, she was spotted at a coffee shop, but then she disappeared. Despite several reported sightings in Ontario, none have been verified. This case has completely baffled investigators, but her family believes that foul play was involved. Just before she vanished, Marilyn had moved back to Quebec City from Montreal, saying she no longer felt safe after something traumatic happened to her there. Though the Quebec City police have kept the case open, her family has fought to have the investigation transferred to the Montreal police or the provincial police, who they believe could make more progress. Could someone have been stalking her, or did she meet her end with foul play? Marilyn's disappearance is a chilling case that still haunts her family and investigators. In our number 3 spot today, we have Maura Murray. On February 9th, 2004, 21-year-old nursing student Maura Murray disappeared without a trace after crashing her car on a remote New Hampshire road. What followed was a series of strange events that still baffle investigators. Just before the crash, Murray had withdrawn money from an ATM, bought alcohol, and sent a cryptic email to her boyfriend telling him that she would be in touch soon. The ATM footage is the last time she was known to be seen. Hours later, after the crash, a passing bus driver saw her outside the car, but she refused help and claimed she'd called AAA, though no record of such a call exists. By the time police arrived, Maura was gone. The car was found locked, with her belongings scattered inside, but no sign of where she went or why. Theories about her disappearance range from a voluntary disappearance to abduction, and some even suggest that she was targeted. The case has captured public imagination, fueled by the growth of online communities dedicated to solving it, as well as multiple media investigations. Could Maura have fled to start a new life, or was something more sinister at play? Despite extensive searches, Maura Murray's disappearance remains one of the most perplexing unsolved mysteries in recent history. In our number 2 spot today, we have Lars Mittank. In 2014, Lars Mittank, a German tourist in Bulgaria, became the center of one of the most baffling disappearances ever caught on camera. After a fight with some locals that resulted in a ruptured eardrum, Lars stayed behind when his friends flew home, but something dark started to unravel in him. As he roamed Varna Airport, his behavior grew increasingly erratic, with security footage showing him anxiously consulting a doctor before becoming convinced someone was following him. In a shocking turn, he suddenly fled the airport, leaving behind all of his belongings, including his passport and his money. The footage captures him running into the nearby woods, but despite extensive searches, Lars was never seen again. What could have driven him to flee in such a panic? Was he truly being pursued, or was his mind unraveling? The mystery of Lars remains one of the most eerie unsolved disappearances. And finally, in our number 1 spot today, we have the Hessdalen Valley Lights. For decades, strange glowing lights have been spotted in the skies above the Hessdalen Valley in Norway, baffling scientists and igniting wild theories. These mysterious orbs, which hover and dart across the night sky, are often seen flickering in bright hues of white, yellow, or red. Sometimes they move erratically, other times they seem to just hang there, still and glowing, defying any logical explanation. Is it some kind of natural electrical phenomenon, like ball lightning? The phenomenon was so consistent in the 1980s that scientists launched the Hessdalen Project to study it, even setting up cameras and sensors to catch a glimpse of the elusive lights on film. While researchers have suggested theories like ionized gases or electrical discharges caused by the valley's unique geography, nothing definitively explains the strange sightings. Could it be that the Hessdalen lights are evidence of alien visitors, or is there an even more bizarre explanation hiding in plain sight? This ongoing mystery, caught on camera time and time again, leaves us questioning what is really going on in this quiet Norwegian valley.
First up on our list today, we have the mystery of the Siberian dancing lady. Video footage of the woman first began circulating online in 2019, showing an elderly woman dancing in the streets of Siberia, dressed in traditional Siberian garb. The user who posted it said that they were confused about her behavior, but eventually a stream of comments flooded in, labeling the woman as the Siberian dancing lady and saying that if you were to look the woman in the eyes without first receiving permission, she would chase you down with a large blade in an attempt to end your life. There is a Siberian legend that tells the story of a woman who fell in love with a man from a different village. However, unfortunately, her family disapproved of the union and she was left heartbroken. It is said that when she died, her spirit could be seen roaming along the countryside, dancing and singing mournfully in the night. Those who were unlucky enough to gaze upon her shadow would be met with misfortune and death. In 2023, more video footage of a strange woman dancing in the Siberian streets was posted online. In one, the woman notices that there is someone filming her and begins charging towards them holding a large blade. Many people also claim to have seen the woman and have theorized that she is either mentally unwell or possessed by the devil. Police have also begun to take these sightings very seriously, and incidents have even been reported on the local news stations, who have warned citizens to seek shelter after dark to avoid a run-in with the unidentified woman. Next, we have footage taken from a passenger aboard an American Airlines flight headed to Orlando from Fort Worth. The woman in the video, later identified as Tiffany Gomez, a former Microsoft employee, can be seen having what can only be described as a breakdown. She shouted at other passengers, claiming that a man near the back of the plane was not real and that the plane would not be making it to its final destination. She was removed from the aircraft and was later captured on police body camera footage inside the terminal of the airport, claiming that the man had told her he had an explosive device. She pleaded with the desk agent and police, begging them not to let the plane leave, saying that once it became airborne, it would blow up. Tiffany later posted an apology video online saying that she was sorry for causing a scene as well as for using profanity aboard the aircraft, but provided no explanation for her actions or the claims that she made in the video. While the plane was okay, many people who watched the apology video have claimed that the woman apologizing and the woman on the plane were two entirely different people, saying that they look nothing alike. Next up, we have 3 incredibly strange videos captured on home security cameras that might just give you nightmares. These videos were shared to social media platform TikTok by Mandy, a mother of 2, who became incredibly disturbed after her Ring camera alerted her to movement taking place outside of her home. In the video, you can clearly see the shadow of a person standing to the right side of the camera, but what's really creepy here is the audio. In an almost witch-like voice, the figure says, "Let me in," before it begins scratching on the door and trying to open it. After the incident, Mandy began to monitor her cameras much more closely, and to her dismay, a few nights later she saw a figure in a black hood lingering outside her shed. bed. And a few days after that, the same figure was seen lurking around the premises of her home and standing directly under the room in which Mandy, at the time, would have been consoling her sick child. The family has contacted authorities, but there's been no update since. However, I do have goosebumps all over my body right now. Next up, we have the Ericsson twins captured on police body cam footage after the officers had been called to the scene to investigate the woman's strange behavior. The Swedish sisters Ursula and Sabina had been seen acting up after exiting a public bus. They tried to board another but were denied entry. The pair made their way over to the highway and they were seen dashing in and out of traffic. When police arrived on the scene and attempted to apprehend the woman, they once again ran into the road until they were both struck down by oncoming vehicles. Ursula suffered severe injuries and Sabina was briefly unconscious but awoke soon after, attacked the officers and refused medical help, which ultimately led to her arrest. Sabina was eventually released, but her freedom didn't last long. Shortly after leaving police custody, she ended the life of Glenn Hollingshed with a large blade after the stranger had agreed to take her into his home so that she could use his phone to contact Ursula. No one knows why either of the women did what they did. There was no evidence of drugs or alcohol involved at either incident, but some have speculated that the twins might have suffered from something called shared psychosis, a rare disorder in which a delusion is shared by two or more people in a close relationship. But what do you guys think? For this next one, we're keeping things somewhat light with a video of an unknown man showing off his leg strength in the province of Shaanxi, China. In security footage captured by the city of Linfen, the man can be seen delivering a powerful kick to one of the concrete columns lining the bridge that he had been walking on. The column, attached to all of the others by a metal chain, falls into the water and then begins dragging the rest down with it. The man who delivered the blow stands back and watches before fleeing the scene. It's unknown why the man decided to kick the column down in the first place, whether or not he knew what would happen or whether or not he was arrested. However, I think we can all agree while vandalism is bad, the domino effect of the columns was pretty satisfying to watch. Next up, we have Peter Bergman, also known as the man who didn't exist. In 2009, the man, presumed to have been in his 50s or 60s, checked into a hotel in Austria under the name Peter Bergman. While at the hotel, he disposed of all his belongings in a purple plastic bag while avoiding security cameras and then went on to purchase 8 stamps from the local post office. Peter went back to the hotel where he was captured on CCTV and grabbed a taxi. The driver dropped him off at Ross Point Beach, and that was the last time the man was ever seen. His body was discovered along the shore the following day around 8 a.m. An investigation began, which led law enforcement to the discovery that Peter Bergman didn't exist. The man had used a fake name and a fake address when checking into the hotel. Not only that, but all of the labels on the man's clothes had been carefully removed so that it would be unclear where he had purchased them from, and his movements prior to the day of his disappearance could not be tracked. While police were able to determine that the man had died of cardiac arrest, they were never able to determine who he was and why he had worked so hard to keep his identity a secret. Next up, we have CCTV footage taken from a home security camera that captured the last known moments of Stephen Cocher before his disappearance without a trace on December 14th of 2009. Stephen had called his friends just 2 days earlier to inform them that he had left his home in Utah to visit Las Vegas, Nevada. However, based on the CCTV footage, his last known whereabouts was Henderson, which is about a 30-minute drive from the Las Vegas Strip without traffic. In the surveillance video, he can be seen parking his car filled with wrapped gifts for his family members on the street of a wealthy neighborhood. After he parked, he got out of his vehicle, crossed the street, and made his way down the road. He was never seen again. No one is sure why he would have parked his car in the neighborhood or what might have happened to him after he did. His cell phone signal was picked up at various locations several miles away from where he left his car, but after 2 days, the signal died and the trail was lost. And finally, to finish off our list today, we have the mysterious disappearance of Dale Kerstetter, who was last seen in a surveillance video taken from inside of the glassworks plant where Dale once worked as a security guard. On September 12th of 1987, Dale had been working the evening shift at the plant when all of a sudden an unknown masked man entered the building. Dale was last seen leading the man through the building while staring directly at the plant's security cameras, possibly in duress, before disappearing out of frame, never to be seen again. However, the masked intruder who made off with $250,000 worth of platinum pipe is seen again. wheeling a large bag out of the plant. While some believe that Dale, who had been in debt at the time, was working with the masked man, his family members maintain that he was an innocent bystander in the incident, and that it's likely the bag they saw leaving the plant in the wheelbarrow had contained Dale's body. To this day, no trace of Dale or the stolen merchandise have ever been found, and the case remains a mystery.
Starting off this list in our number 10 spot, we have the Idaho footage. This creepy video was posted to Reddit by the user No Recognition 1998, where they wrote that it comes from a trail cam in Idaho that was 20 miles out into the woods. Where the video was taken, they said, is literally in the middle of nowhere, and there would be no reason for someone to be this far out into the isolated woods, especially at this time of night. So that leads me to what the video catches. At 4:37 a.m., what is this that appears on the trail cam? Someone or some kind of creature is caught walking past this trail cam. It definitely appears to be human-like, but there is also something extremely off-putting about whatever this thing is, aside from the other bizarre details surrounding this encounter. What do you think this trail cam caught? In our number 9 spot today, we have the Mothman. This next creepy video was posted to TikTok, and it shows a possible encounter with the famous cryptid, the Mothman. If you're a fan of this channel, I'm sure you're familiar with the legend of the Mothman, but if not, it started all back on a dark November night in 1966. Two couples claimed that they saw a huge bird-like monster that had red, glowing eyes. They claimed they saw it while they were cruising down a back road near Point Pleasant, which sits in rural West Virginia. They explained that whatever this creature was, it rose into the air, unfolded these huge bat-like wings, and chased them as they sped away as fast as they could, completely frightened by what they had just seen. From here, stories of the Mothman continued to spread, with more sightings coming in the following weeks, and since then, the Mothman has been an enduring mystery, with some swearing that he exists, and still, to this day, there are reported sightings. Now back to the video. The video shows people recording as they are on a dark trail when they stumble upon a weird scene. It appears as though there is some kind of a creature, maybe eating a human? They begin to get closer to whatever is going on, and you can hear the disbelief in their voice over what they are seeing. Suddenly, it appears as though the creature knows it's being watched, and it starts kind of moving closer to the people recording, and at the end of the day, it doesn't appear as though this Mothman is too fazed by the onlookers, and it just continues to do whatever it was doing with the man in the road. In our number 8 spot today, we have the weird creature. Do you believe in aliens? Or things we can't necessarily prove are real? This next video might just make you a believer. This video was taken in the Acadian woods here in Canada, and it captures a creature that honestly defies explanation. The creature appears to be sitting on some kind of stone structure as those who found it begin recording it. The creature doesn't appear frightened or threatening, but it is totally unlike anything I've ever seen before. It definitely gives off a strange alien feeling, especially with its elongated head seen in the video, but the creature also has a sort of bug-like appearance as well, like it's some kind of grasshopper or something similar. The creature seems to be pretty calm, but it does start to make some inhuman noises. At the end of the day, it is still totally unknown what this creature is, or could be, so if you have an idea, let us know. In our number 7 spot today, we have the abandoned house. This video starts off with people looking through an abandoned house, but they get quite a surprise. The 2-minute long video is mostly just the people walking through the house, searching around for whatever they can find. I mean, the vibes are very creepy. It's an abandoned house and it's dark outside. Around the 50-second mark, however, they find what looks like a newspaper and they begin talking to each other. I have no idea what they are saying because it's not in English, but I'm going to assume they are talking about the paper because they zoom in on it. They begin to continue through the house when the person holding the camera finally sees it. Over in the corner is a little girl. Whether this is a real little girl or some kind of ghost or demon is tough to say, but to be honest, none of these are really great options. The clip shows his initial reaction, but it's kind of tough to see the little girl, so the video then slows it down and brightens it up a bit so we can get a good look at what the video captured. In our number 6 spot today, we have the mermaid. Could mermaids really be real and maybe just not the beautiful sirens we tend to think of them as? Well, this guy may have just found some proof. This video comes from a man who is walking along the beach when he finds something unusual. When he posted it to TikTok, he claimed that he believes he found the remains of a mermaid, and honestly, once I watched the video, I could definitely understand why he would say this. At first, when he goes to pick this item up, it appears like maybe it's just some branches tangled together, but soon we see that there is so much more going on here. The object he is holding resembles the skeleton of a small mermaid-like creature, complete with the infamous tail. You can see a rib cage, skinny little arms, a head. I don't know, this thing is weird, and honestly, it's really unsettling. Possibly the most unsettling part of this video, however, is when the man just drops the skeleton back into the water like it wasn't the possible remains of a once living creature. Just no respect for the mermaids, I guess. In our number 5 spot today, we have the fallen angel. This video follows two men entering some kind of a forest when they start to come across these really large feathers. They continue on their journey into the woods and follow wherever the feathers are leading them. Eventually, they come across some sort of creature that looks like a man with a wound in his back, but it is definitely pretty difficult to see. Now comes the most cursed part. This man creature thing then turns his head and his eyes are illuminated by the light from the camera. This creature is meant to be a fallen angel. Okay, I'm gonna be honest, this video isn't actually real footage and was made by some Spanish horror film fans, but it is still very cursed and very creepy. If I didn't know that this video was fake, I honestly maybe would have believed it, okay? In our number 4 spot today, we have Bigfoot. No trail cam video is complete without an alleged Bigfoot sighting. This video comes from a hunter and it has a super creepy backstory, not your typical Bigfoot kind of video. The hunter explained that he had found human remains in this makeshift kind of shelter out in the woods, and because of this extremely creepy encounter, he decided to set up a secret trail camera that points at this creepy shelter to see what he would be able to find out. Around sunset the next day, the trail camera captures this. You can see a strange figure come out from the woods and rustle around near this makeshift shelter. The creature is covered in thick fur, and this, coupled with its slightly human-like behavior, has made many speculate that this is indeed a sighting of the legendary Bigfoot. After the creature stands around for a bit, it soon heads back into the forest, but not before picking up a giant log and throwing it at the camera, knocking it over. Perhaps the trail camera wasn't quite as inconspicuous as the hunter might have thought. In our number 3 spot today, we have the Brontosaurus. Dinosaurs are extinct, right? Well, this trail camera video was posted to TikTok, and honestly it left me a little speechless. The date and timestamp on this video show that it was taken around 1:56 a.m. on March 15th of this year. It starts off with just the typical trail cam setup, but you can hear something as it walks into frame. Suddenly, we see a creature with a long neck begin to enter. Its lumbering steps can be heard as it continues on, and once it's fully in frame, it is clear as day that this is a dinosaur. Likely some kind of brontosaur. Nothing super scary happens as this dino walks through the frame, but it is so surreal to see a prehistoric creature mixed in with our more modern times. I know that this video is likely just some good CGI, but what if it wasn't? In our number 2 spot today, we have the levitation. This video starts off with a man and his dog walking through some kind of forest in the snow. They're playing fetch, and the man throws the ball, and the dog chases after it, but when the owner calls the dog back, the dog has clearly seen something else, and he begins running off. This is all fine and well, nothing wrong with a little fetch, but when the man follows the dog to see where he's going, they come across something super strange. It is literally a girl levitating in the air. She's with another person, and it's kind of unclear if he is the one who is levitating her or if she's doing it herself, but either way, when they realize that someone is watching them, she quickly returns to the ground and they both run off, extremely guilty. I know the clip is really grainy and hard to see, but there is definitely something super weird going on here. Witchcraft, aliens, I don't know. And finally, in our #1 spot today, we have the creature. This trail camera caught some sort of humanoid creature as it walks across the trail. This animal or creature or whatever it is definitely appears slightly human, but it doesn't walk like a human, or really like an animal either for that matter. This thing slowly moves on all fours as it lumbers through this forest kind of area. It's got long, awkward limbs, and it doesn't really appear like anything that is known to science, which is why people speculate that this thing is either a demon or some currently undiscovered cryptid. Whatever it is, it's safe to say that I don't want to encounter it. Starting off in our #10 spot, we have the forest encounter. Being in the woods at night is never not scary. Even if you're an experienced outdoors person, there is just something unsettling about the secrets the woods like to hold. This video is absolutely no exception to that. This video was taken back in 2006 in the Catalonian forest, where two men and their families were on a camping trip. I'm not entirely sure what led up to the men taking this video or why they were walking around the forest at night, but regardless of how they got into this position, what happened next is something I'm sure they will never forget. As they walk deeper into this forest, something catches their attention. They see what looks like a mysterious creature on top of a tree branch. As they see the creature, they obviously stop walking and are filming it, scared for what it might be. The forest is of course full of dangerous animals, so it's always good to proceed with caution, but I'm sure these men had no idea just how scary this creature was about to become. As the light from the recorder shines on the creature and the men try to get a closer look, the creature turns its face to look directly at them. The creature's eyes glow in the light with a human-looking head but an inhuman-feeling aura. The men quickly book it out of there, and I have to say, I would do exactly the same thing. After experiencing something like that, I don't think you could ever catch me in the woods again. In our #9 spot today, we have the skinwalker in the woods. This creepy video was posted to TikTok by the user Adrian Montenegro02, and it was supposed to be just a casual video showing a camping trip with their family that they were taking near Monterrey in Mexico. It should just be a nice casual fun time, fun family trip, right? Wrong. Of course not. This video shows the family all hanging out together with one member being pushed on a swing by a couple other members. This is all fine and well, but it's what's in the background that really has viewers concerned and definitely had the family freaking out when they reviewed the footage. In the back, you see a creepy figure moving around. This figure is pale and human looking, and it just moves around quietly like it's trying not to be seen. Is it hiding from the family? Is it planning something sinister? After posting, many viewers began putting forth their theories. Some believe the figure seen in the back is a skinwalker, while others believe it is someone who lives in the woods waiting for their moment to strike. At the end of the day, whatever this thing is, it is sure unsettling, and all I can ask is, why is it watching this family's vacation? In our #8 spot today, we have Bigfoot? Would this list truly be complete without the sighting of a supposed Bigfoot? This video comes from 2015 when a man named McCamey reported seeing a strange, unexplainable creature hiding in the woods. McCamey was kayaking in a swamp close to Tampa in Florida when he heard a noise, and then he began to see some strange movement. He started recording what he thought was likely a bear or a similar kind of animal, but as he got closer he realized that something more unusual was going on. The creature began to navigate through the alligator-infested water with ease, and it began using its arms to swing through the branches, which is something that isn't really commonly seen with bears, as far as I know. Some people believe this video is a hoax, while others believe this is full-blown proof that Bigfoot is alive and well and living in Florida. What do you think? In our #7 spot today, we have a cult meeting. This next video comes from a group of friends who were on a casual hike, enjoying themselves, getting some fresh air and exercise, but little did they know they were about to stumble upon something a lot more sinister than a typical day outdoors. As they are hiking on the trail and up a hill, they look back and see some kind of weird secret cult or secret society type meeting. These people begin walking, dressed in white robes, and while that obviously isn't any kind of a crime, it's bizarre, to say the least. The person who took the video also posted another video of this strange encounter because these people didn't just look creepy, they were also making creepy sounds. I can't tell if the sound is music, singing, chanting, screaming, I'm not entirely sure, but whatever it is, it was all creepy enough for these guys to stop their hike, record, and post it on the internet for all of us to watch and wonder, what exactly is going on here? In our number 6 spot today, we have the backyard horror. This video starts off with someone recording in their home. We quickly find out that the reason they started recording is because they noticed something strange in their backyard. Never a good way to start off a video. He apparently was hearing weird voices coming from outside of his house, and of course wanted to record as he investigated, and well, good thing he did. He turns the lights off inside so that he could see what was going on outside better, and well, absolute nightmare fuel ensues when he does this. As he turns the camera to the dark backyard, he suddenly sees a human-like creature come darting towards him. The figure appears to have come from a bush in the backyard, and who knows how long it had been there for. What is so creepy to me is that this creature clearly knew he was looking into the yard at this point, so I want to know how long it was there for, watching him through the windows. Also, what the hell is that thing? Let me know. In our number 5 spot today, we have the creepy figure. This video starts off with a group of men riding their motorcycles through the woods, which honestly already sounds challenging enough. The video seems to be progressing as one would expect until things take a turn for the worse. Quickly, the video descends into terror and madness as they realize that something or someone is chasing them. You can hear one of the men yelling and screaming for help as the other men in front of him begin to pull over and try and figure out what is happening. That would be absolutely jarring to be just on a fun day out with your friends when suddenly one of them starts screaming for help. Absolutely terrifying already, but I don't think any of the men were expecting to see what happens next. A creepy human-like creature can be seen chasing the men, and when one of them gets off the bike, it begins coming up to the bike and toward the group. The men are caught between being utterly terrified of this encounter while also trying to protect their bike from damage or being stolen. You can absolutely hear the panic in their voices as they try to figure out what exactly is going on. In our number 4 spot today, we have this weird creature. This video comes from Australia, which is of course the land of creepy creatures, and whatever is caught on this video is certainly no exception. The person who captured the video was driving through a deserted forest at night, which just already feels like you're asking for trouble. As they are driving through this creepy area and recording, something appears in front of the car. This creature, whatever it is, although it doesn't look like any animals that I know of, quickly disappears just as quickly as it did appear, moving in a strange and very fast way. Let's take another look at this thing, but slow down a bit. Honestly, I have no explanation for what this is or what it could be. Some believe it's a skinwalker, others believe it's a demon. Whatever you want to believe, let's just hope you never cross paths with it. In our number 3 spot today, we have the Appalachian Trail footage. This next creepy video comes from someone who was hiking by themselves along the Appalachian Trail. He was resting in his tent, again, all alone, when suddenly he began to hear a terrifying screeching sound. I guess when you're out in the wilderness all alone, you really have no choice but to investigate the creepy sound. Better to know where it's coming from than just wait and see and hope for the best. He gets out of his tent and begins recording the sound as he calls out for any response to what could be making this horrifying sound. You can hear the fear in his voice as he tries to shine his light and see as far as he can in the pitch black wilderness. The noise sounds as though it's getting closer and closer, and you can faintly see shadows moving in between the trees as if something knows he is there and is coming to take a look. At one point, it even looks like you can maybe see the reflection of eyes off in the distance. It isn't quite clear exactly what he encountered that day, but whatever it is, I wouldn't want to meet it face to face. In our number 2 spot today, we have the creepy man. This video was taken in a remote area in Montana, out in what appears to be some kind of forest area. Now, a lot of the videos on today's list feature unknown creatures and creepy looking things, but this video looks like it just captures a man. The man gives off a kind of weird vibe to begin with. I mean, he's just standing alone in the woods, which is kind of weird, but the people recording call out to him to see if he's okay, if he needs any help, just to double check, which, you know, that's very nice of them. Unfortunately, instead of just a regular casual encounter, this man suddenly turns into an absolute nightmare. The man begins to move towards the people recording, but not in a normal human way, in a creepy, crawling way that would make anyone feel absolutely disturbed. Was this just a creepy person trying to freak someone out, or was something a little bit more paranormal at play? And finally, in our number 1 spot today, we have the graveyard ghost. Okay, I'll be honest, this video doesn't take place on a trail or in the woods, but it does take place somewhere equally as creepy, and that is a graveyard. Perhaps one of the creepiest places on Earth. It isn't quite clear exactly where this graveyard is, but the person who took the video had initially gone there because they apparently had been hearing some strange noises coming from the cemetery for several days. I feel like if I had heard a strange noise coming from a cemetery, I'd probably call the police, or Ed and Lorraine Warren. The last thing I would ever do would be to take it upon myself to investigate. The curious video taker is clearly braver than I, because they went to explore and definitely found more than they had bargained for. I have absolutely no idea what this thing is, with its elongated limbs and creepy posture. I'm not sure how the person taking the video was able to stand there for so long, but I feel like fight or flight really took over in this case. Was this a ghost, a demon, a zombie? Honestly, at this point, the possibilities are endless.
Starting us off at number 10 is the Battery Man. Slavisa Pajkic, aka Biba Struja, aka Electric Biba, is a man who since the age of 17 has apparently had electricity coursing through his body at all times. He can literally fry a hot dog with his bare hands. He claims he's an insulator, accumulator, conductor, and heater all in one. Using 2 metal pins, he can even make a light bulb light up, even though if any normal person touched 220 volts, they would die. Not him though, it's not even a thing for him. Just makes it look so easy. He even makes an electric circuit with him and a bunch of his students holding hands, and he helps people with their sinus and back problems, their migraines. Like, look at what his touch does to these people. Look at this clip right now.
Rada u grad I pomažem ljudima. Migrena, glavobolja, sinusi, problemi sa kičmom. Trudim se 50-50.
And if that didn't manage to convince you, he became a Guinness World Record holder back in 1981 when he touched a few thousand volts. He also heated water to 97 degrees Celsius in the record time of 1 minute and 37 seconds. And no one knows how he has this power, how the electricity entered him and never left, how he controls it, or how he hasn't died from it yet. We just have no idea. But I would love to be like a walking appliance. It would save me so much money in electricity.
In at number 9, the Paulding Light. A small light that appears in a valley outside of Paulding, Michigan. This has been a mystery that has been puzzling investigators since the 1960s.
It almost looks like a flame, man.
How it flickers?
Yeah, it looks like a flame out there.
Look, it's red on it now.
It's coming real close.
Yep, you see it? It's going red now.
Some believe it's a ghost, while others claim it could be some sort of geological activity or even some natural gases. The light appears in the same spot almost every night, and of course there are tons of myths and legends surrounding the light. Some claim it's the light of a railroad brakeman who was killed while trying to stop an oncoming train from colliding with a car stuck on the tracks. Others claim it's a grandparent looking for a lost grandchild, using a lantern that needs constant relighting, which is why the light seems to come and go. In 2010, the Paulding Light was featured on the show Fact or Faked Paranormal Files, who couldn't come up with a reasonable explanation for the random light.
At number 8, we have the disappearance of Frederick Valentich. On the 21st of October 1978, Australian pilot Frederick Valentich was doing a 125 nautical mile training flight. Now, the 20-year-old had no idea that that would be the last flight of his career. Known as a flying saucer enthusiast, Frederick radioed Melbourne air traffic control saying this:
"Is there any known traffic below 5,000 feet?
No known traffic.
Seems to be a large aircraft below 5,000 feet."
Now, if you didn't understand what he said and it's unclear, he's asking if there's any known traffic below 5,000 feet. They respond saying no known traffic. He then claimed there was an unidentified aircraft that was following him at 4,500 feet, which clearly wasn't a plane. It was illuminated by 4 bright landing lights and seemed to be moving at quite a fast speed. He then reported that it seemed to be approaching him from the east and that maybe the pilot was pranking him. The craft started orbiting above him, and that's when Frederick started experiencing engine problems. Now have a listen to the last few things he said in his transmission before contact was lost.
It's not an aircraft, it's hovering, and it's not an aircraft.
Search parties were sent out and covered 1,000 square miles around the perimeter, yet he was never found. The last thing he says is it's not an airplane, and then contact just gets lost. Like, where did you go? Were you abducted by aliens?
At lucky number 7, Dale Kerstetter. This mystery is exactly that because no one knows the answers to anything, really. September 12, 1987, Kerstetter started his weekend shift as a security guard at the Corning Glassworks plant in Bradford, Pennsylvania. When another security guard arrived the next morning to relieve Kerstetter of his shift, Dale was nowhere to be found. $250,000 of platinum pipe was also missing. However, Kerstetter's truck was still in the parking lot, and after the police were called to investigate, they were stumped. The keys to the truck were still in the ignition. Kerstetter, a heavy smoker, left behind a full carton of cigarettes. The only thing missing was his .22 caliber pistol. What's even more interesting is Dale's lunchbox was full, and upon reviewing security footage, about 10 minutes into Kerstetter's shift, a masked man is seen approaching the back of the plant. Kerstetter is seen walking up to him and then looked directly at the camera. The two men were never seen again. To this day, some believe Kerstetter was part of a heist, while others think he was coerced into the crime. He was looking at the camera as a signal of asking for help. Kerstetter had 6 kids and 2 grandchildren at the time of his disappearance. No one has seen or heard from him since that night, and many are still wondering what really happened to Dale Kerstetter.
Now at number 6 is the sand geyser. So everyone knows about water geysers. They're out here going to Iceland and chilling in those hot geyser baths and whatnot. Nothing new, I wish I could do that. But back in 2008, in the eastern city of Al-Asa in Saudi Arabia, a sand geyser just appeared out of nowhere. The sand was coming out and reached 9 meters in vertical length, but no one was able to explain how the phenomenon was happening. Several Almaco geological teams went to the site to get to the bottom of it, but they simply couldn't. Some claim it could have been because of an earthquake tremor, since some sand volcanoes formed during large earthquakes, but 11 years later they're still clueless about the real origins of the sand geyser.
Halfway through our list at number 5, the Cowboy Bandit. This one is insane because this guy somehow has been eluding the police for over 30 years. Started back in 1987 on September 19th, when a man entered a bank in Spokane, Washington and robbed them of $100,000. The man who robbed the bank was described as wearing glasses, a cowboy hat, and cowboy boots. When he pulled the gun on the teller asking to be taken to the vault, he also revealed a police scanner, making it clear he'll know if anyone calls for the police. After completing his first robbery, the Cowboy Bandit would go on to rob about a dozen banks total, even being captured on camera at some of them. Although it took a while to get the bandit on camera, while he was robbing a bank, one of the tellers set off a bill trap, which is located under some of the bills the tellers were handing over to the bandit during a robbery. This not only notified the police, but also activated the bank's cameras. Still, even though he was caught on camera, to this day, law enforcement have not been able to find the Cowboy Bandit.
At number 4 is the Max Headroom interruption. Now I feel like many people have seen this signal interruption that happened back in November of 1987 already, but we're going to show it again. The signal intrusion happened at about 9 PM during the sportscast news on WGN TV and lasted about 28 seconds. The second intrusion happened during Doctor Who and that lasted about 90 seconds. It's been 30 years now and the hijackers behind the interruption are still unknown, and honestly the whole thing was just really creepy. The person in the video is wearing a Max Headroom mask and sunglasses with this buzzing sound in the background. In the first intrusion he's just swaying from side to side, bobbing his head up and down in front of this metallic striped background. In the second one, the person actually talks, saying he's a freaking nerd. He-heeing away, he starts humming and singing a song and seems like he's on some kind of high level of drugs. He goes on to say, "I just made a giant masterpiece for all the greatest world newspaper nerds," and I mean, he's not wrong. 30 years later, we're still talking about it, trying to figure out who it was.
In at number 3, Leah Rowlands. At around 10:30 AM on March 20th, 1997, Leah Rowlands was working as the manager of a gas station in Nebraska. The mother of 2 had just gotten promoted the day before and didn't think twice when a red Pontiac Grand Am pulled in to get some gas. The man in the red car walked into the gas station without shoes on and sweatpants rolled up to his knees. He waited for a mother and her daughter to leave the store and then approached the counter. Leah was instructed to hand over the money in the cash register, which she did, a total of $150. She was then told to lay on the ground. Complying with everything the robbers said, Leah wasn't expecting him to shoot her 3 times, twice in the arm and once in the head, killing her instantly. The suspect then took off with the money, some soda, a pack of cigarettes, a lighter, and the gas he filled his car up with. Although there was surveillance footage of the entire crime, to this day, Leah's killer has never been found.
Now at number 2 is the Hampton Court Palace ghost. Now this grand estate was the home of Henry VIII and all his 6 wives and all their kids. And I feel like I learned about this guy in history at primary school more than I learned about anyone. It was a tie between him and both world wars, so I mean that's saying something. So the staff at the palace had the alarm go off, which meant the fire doors were open, but when they rushed to check there was nothing there. But in the footage you can see the doors opening even though no one's physically opening them, and then a man appears out of nowhere in medieval clothing and leaves through the doors.
You don't see the doors actually being pushed open by hand. Figure strides forward and slams them shut. As you can see, and close-ups have shown that it appears to be dressed in medieval clothes, similar to what Henry VIII would have worn.
Now, no one saw any person come in and out of the building, yet the footage shows otherwise, and it looks like a skinnier version of Henry VIII, to be honest. Like maybe the afterlife made him skinnier. A good diet plan, though.
Taking the top spot on our list at number 1, Bigfoot. Now you most likely already know the story here, but for those that don't, well, it's quite an interesting one. Bob Gimlin and Roger Patterson filmed what some say is a real-life Bigfoot, and others claim to be a hoax way back in 1967. The story goes the two men were searching for Bigfoot. Patterson claimed to have seen large footsteps earlier in the week and convinced Gimlin to go on a journey with him. When the two returned to the area where Patterson had originally found the prints, they were washed away due to rain. Still, the two men trekked deep into the woods on horseback. Then out of nowhere, Patterson's horse started jumping around, and then they saw it. Bigfoot on the other side of a creek. Patterson reached for his camera and started to record, but as he got closer, he tripped on some sticks. The noise got the attention of Bigfoot, who made eye contact with the men and then kept walking deeper into the woods, as you could see on the footage.
When I first saw her, she was standing upright. I thought, you know, this is unreal.
To this day, there's still a debate about whether or not the footage is real, and Gimlin doesn't seem to care to make people believe him. He knows what he saw on that day.